rapidly deployable ballistic missile defense system with the capability to intercept and destroy ballistic missiles during their final...
The Army's two key missile defense systems, Patriot and the Terminal High Altitude Air Defense System, successfully talked in a test conducted by the Missile Defense Agency and the service at White Sands Missile Range, New Mexico, April 6. The Army is planning to tie THAAD and Patriot together within 2 years and received a surplus of funding in the recently passed fiscal 2018 omnibus spending bill to proceed with the effort. Tying the systems together is critical to establishing a more effective, layered approach to air and missile defense and could enhance the development of the Army's future AMD command and control system, the Integrated Air and Missile Defense Battle Command System, or IBCS. Both THAAD and Patriot picked up a live short-range Lynx missile target, suing their radars and track the target individually, but both systems exchanged messages through tactical data links and verified interoperability between the weapon systems, according to an MDA statement. No live interceptors were launched. These two weapon systems are vitally important as components of our layered ballistic missile defense system, and it is critical that they are able to transmit data and communicate with one another, MDA Director Lieutenant General Samuel Greaves said in the statement. The test supported the material release of the THAAD 3.0 software upgrades and meets requirements laid out in the FY16 National Defense Authorization Act for the MDA and Army to annually test interoperability and integration of THAAD and Patriot, the statement notes. Driving the effort are the forces in South Korea, where both THAAD and Patriot are deployed. THAAD is also deployed in Guam, while Patriot units are spread wider around the world. Patriot deployments are considered to be among the most taxing and lengthy ones in the Army. The Army is planning to tie its two most critical air and missile defense systems together within 2 years, which is key to establishing a more effective, layered approach to AMD, according to the one-star general in charge of modernizing the service's AMD capabilities. The approach could enhance the development of the Army's future AMD command and control system, the Integrated Air and Missile Defense Battle Command System, or IBCS. The Terminal High Altitude System, or THAAD, and the Patriot Medium Range Air and Missile Defense System are the bread and butter of Army Air and Missile Defense, Brig General Randy McIntyre, the cross-functional team lead for AMD, told Defense News in a March 14 interview. The Army has formed 7 cross-functional teams, or CFT, to address its 6 modernization priorities, which will be nested within the service's new Futures Command expected to stand up in the summer. McIntyre is addressing AMD modernization from a variety of avenues, including bringing short-range air defense back into the force, but the CFT identified the importance of ensuring the service is getting everything it can out of its current systems, he said. Getting THAAD and Patriot to talk to each other is extremely important in building better operational capability and a better picture of incoming threats. Driving the effort are the forces in South Korea, where both THAAD and Patriot are deployed. THAAD is also deployed in Guam, while Patriot units are spread wider around the world. Patriot deployments are considered to be among the most taxing and lengthy ones in the Army. We've got THAAD and Patriot on the peninsula of Korea working side by side, McIntyre said, so how do we leverage those two systems so we can have better use of each one of those systems, missiles, and taking advantage of the great, and TPY-2, radar that is part of THAAD to increase the battle space of Patriot. The CFT held an industry day bringing together key stakeholders, including the U.S. Missile Defense Agency, to work on the challenge of integrating the systems, McIntyre said. Before the CFT had a chance to take a fresh look at the possibility of integration, MDA didn't think it would be able to tie together the systems until the out years, he said, referring to years beyond the currently planned budget years. But we were able to reprioritize, and some of the things that we were doing to integrate THAAD and Patriot were 4 and 5 years away, But we kind of magnified the problem and were able to reprioritize 3 significant capabilities that we thought would be game changers with those and actually bring them in about 2 years to 18 months sooner, he added. The CFT did not want a niche system to solve the problem, and it determined the capability should inform the brains of the Army's future integrated air and missile defense, that is, IBCS, which is still in development. The initial fielding of IBCS has been pushed back by several years because the Army wants it to tie together more systems on the battlefield than originally required. These systems include THAAD and its indirect fire protection capability that defends against rockets, artillery and mortars, as well as unmanned aircraft systems and cruise missiles. Integrated air and missile defense will ultimately replace Patriot. By coming up with an interim solution that helps develop IBCS, the Army won't pay to tie together THAAD and Patriot as well as other systems twice, according to McIntyre. We will be able to take that in, at the appropriate time, slide it into an increment of the future with IBCS, McIntyre said. It's going to be a capability that we will use in the interim until IBCS comes online, but it's going to be with the IBCS-style guide, for lack of a better term, and IBCS informed, he added. For example, the Army was trying to bring the second increment of IBCS online in fiscal 2022, but with some of the activities being conducted now over the next 18 to 24 months, it's possible the service could readjust the IBCS program so it is fielding increment 3 by FY22 instead, McIntyre said. The Army would be able to integrate it a lot faster because we are going to do a lot of the testing that needs to be able to make that work, so I think the idea is that we will be able to maybe go faster on the backside, he said.